minute, Jack. This is a friendly celebration.
I don't much like the way you celebrate.
That is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence. Fake. Hillary Clinton and President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, and fake. Affirmed what the intelligence community professionals, as you say, had been assessing for the previous 6 months leading up to the election, which was that Russia neither had the intent nor capability to essentially hack the outcome of the U.S. election.
Tulsi Gabbard's a little surprised last Friday night, the Russia hoax. And so a couple of things I wanted to say before we got started, guys. Number one, I want to come at this from the point of view of, I know none of us are attorneys. I did invite an attorney to come on with us, but he declined to do that. So, and I don't think, another thing I want to tell you is Ken wrote and said he wouldn't be able to make it tonight. So it's just, it's 3 men tonight. And along with the constitutional questions, I want to address this from the point of treason and the statute of limitations. And of course, there is no statute of limitations for treason. I believe that's true. Paul sent me a little note about that, and I know that's true. So the other thing is, if we're talking about a conspiracy, there are a lot of conditions with a conspiracy as far as statute of limitations, and I guess the question you ask is the conspiracy really over? Okay, and when was the evidence discovered? So they and one thing I'll note is they raided Trump's home on August 8th of 2022. So was that part of the conspiracy? Right. Some people believe that the papers that Tulsi Gabbard released yesterday that she talked about were what the FBI was looking for at Mar-a-Lago on August 8th. They thought that Trump took that with him to hold on to it, to hold over everybody's heads. So anyway, with all those questions or answers or whatever posed to you guys, let's dive in here and where are we going with this? Where are we going with the Russian hoax? Who do we think is going to be punished? Is anybody going to be punished? I see Paul's holding something up to the screen there. He's got a meme, the DNI treason cam.
Yeah, this is kind of to make up for the Coldplay.
Yeah, you got all the players on there. I saw Hillary and Obama. I guess that was probably Brennan and Clapper.
Yeah, Brennan, Comey, and
Clapper. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I did send out today one more thing. I sent out a nice summary of the timeline that Glenn Beck put together. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch that or not.
I got through half of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty long, and but if you get a chance, watch it. It's pretty good. He tracks it all the way up into the past 23, I think. So anyway, with that said, let's kind of give me your 10,000 foot overview, and then we'll kind of get into some details. So Jeff, Paul, go ahead. Whoever wants to jump in first.
If Jeff's going to sit there with that smile on his face, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead, Paul. My rant might go on for a while, so go ahead. Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Yours will make sense. I'm just going to make noise. Yeah, that as I understand it, criminal conspiracy, the statute of limitations runs on it when it ends, and I don't know if it's ended yet. They're still pushing that whole program that Orange Man bad. So I don't know if we have a statute of limitations issue. Going back to many, many moons ago, I just remember Clapper sitting in front of Congress and lying. He had been given the questions he was going to be asked, and one of them was, "Are you collecting millions of bits of data on just plain U.S. citizens?" And he said no. And then the next day he said, "Well, that was the least untruthful way I could say what we were doing," which meant that they were collecting information on millions of Americans who were not subject to FISA or any other warrant type of work. So why that man is still walking free, I don't understand. But the idea that we've got a sitting president who came up through the ranks so incredibly fast that we still don't know exactly where he was born. We got proof of this and proof of that, and if you remember, he issued his certificate of live birth. It wasn't a birth certificate. It was a certificate of live birth from the Hawaii Health and Human Services, or whoever collects those there. Which
we have talked about on this program before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it lists right on there, bigger than life. His father was Barack Hussein Obama Sr., whose country citizenship was Kenyan. And that should have stopped the clock right there. The clause in the Constitution says that one of the requirements to be eligible for president is to be a natural-born citizen. And we can go back to Vattel's Law of Nations and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure Jeff has a better handle on that than I do. But
so let me say this, Paul. I'll just interrupt you a minute. So will that be Obama's defense that he's not an American citizen?
I don't think I've seen that in the Babylon.
So you can't be treasonous, if you're don't have allegiance to the country you're committing treason against.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're the president of the country, you've got if nothing else, a passive allegiance. If you accepted the job, you said you were going to do it, and he raised his right hand and swore to God that he was going to do the job right. So
you think he's in? You think he's in? That's not going to work.
No, I don't think he's going to be able to bubble his way out of this one like he has some of the other stuff. As far as Comey and Clapper and Brennan, that's a cabal that just needs to be shredded. And Hillary, her group, one of the things that Glenn Beck came out with today, in addition to what Tulsi came out with last week and earlier this week, that paints a pretty terrible picture of the leadership in our government for 4 or 8 years, and how it was took advantage of the American people ignorance. And I use ignorance because I always say the difference between ignorance and stupidity is ignorance can be cured. So I think that we slept through it, and we should have raised our voices and taken it to task at that point. But here we are now, and I think we're going to see some work.
So here's something else we need to address too. I want you guys to be thinking about is, along with that little clip I sent out earlier in the week of 4 Men in America with McCain and Lindsey Graham over in Europe, talking about Russia interfering with the election, and we got to boost up sanctions and all. So were these senators, were they complicit? Were they fooled? Were they, you know, where do all our senators and representatives stand as far as this conspiracy goes, or this Russian hoax? So I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves with these people, because they were pushing it hard in the media too, and either they believed what Obama came up with and went along with the story like the media did, or they were stupid enough to go along with it and didn't realize it was a hoax. So with that, go ahead, Jeff, it's your turn.
Well, they didn't care if it was true or not, if
Right.
it fit their purpose. I mean, you know, we have factions in this nation, and the problem is, you know, you go back and read Federalist number 10, you know, discussing factions, and Madison basically said, look, there's no way we're going to get rid of factions. The only way to get rid of factions is to have tyranny, and then you force everything down everybody's throat. So we need to figure out how to mitigate those factions. But the problem is, Madison's remedy to try to get rid of faction was to spread it across a large enough federal republic that those factions would kind of negate each other, and that everybody's sense of what's good for the whole would eventually come through, and that their individual factions, in effect, they wouldn't be willing to sink the ship, you know, just to get what they wanted short term. Well, we've learned he wasn't totally accurate there, that, you know, we know the political parties in many cases on both sides, but mostly on the Democrat side, they're willing to do anything they need to do to preserve power, lie, cheat, steal. So, and that's a fact. I mean, you know, just looking at the men and women's sports issue, the immigration issue, the COVID issue, and what they did to Donald Trump and the Russian hoax. I mean, that really was such a great threat that it could have created World War III because of the friction it caused with Russia. And in large measure, I think it is, it made the soil fertile for what happened with the Ukraine-Russia, along with the Biden administration and these types of things. So all these things have consequences. So in the strict reading, however, because this is really important, in the strict reading of the Constitution, Article 3, Section 3, on how they define treason, you know, in the strictest sense, I do believe what Obama and his administration did is treasonous, but I don't think it meets the threshold of a conviction upon treasonous terms as defined by the Constitution and U.S. Code, okay? Because one could argue on technicalities. Yes, Obama and his administration had due allegiance to America. But number two is it you know, has to be in a time of war or conflict. Now you could argue that either way, but were we in a shooting war with who he, you know, did this to? It was really to subvert his own nation to the faction that he was allegiant to. In other words, he was allegiant to the Democrat Party more than he was to the United States of America. So that is not a foreign violent type, you know, war, openly violent. Or did he give comfort and aid to the enemies of the United States? He certainly gave comfort and aid to the enemies of the Republican Party and in effect the United States. But I think it's going to be a high threshold to meet. But what his administration do was morally wrong? Absolutely. And if it didn't meet the threshold or doesn't meet the threshold of treason, I think it should. The big question is, if it doesn't meet the threshold of treason, does it meet the threshold of something else that's illegal as per U.S. Code? Okay. And you have to remember that political speech is protected, even false narratives in many cases. But the big question I wrote out here, guys. So this is the big question. Is it lawful for a standing president and his administration to knowingly and willfully create and spread false narratives to intentionally degrade, thwart, impede, subvert the succeeding duly elected president and his administration from executing on the platform and policies promised to the American people? Okay, because look, you asked that. Now look, if we applied this to Trump, the left would say it's illegal. Because look, is it lawful for a standing president? Let's put Trump in there. Let's say you're a Democrat looking at this on the Trump side. I mean, against Trump. In his administration to knowingly and willingly create false narratives, and they'd say the 2020 election is a false narrative, to that the election really wasn't, to intentionally degrade, thwart, impede, subvert, and succeeding duly elected President Biden and the administration from executing on the platform and policies. What would the left say to that question?
Yes.
They would say, yeah, is it lawful? They'd say it's illegal.
It's illegal, right?
And they prosecuted on him.
Sure.
And it was very, and the bottom line is, when he said peacefully march, there's a lot of arguments that everything that they prosecuted him on is a false narrative, right? And they wanted that to go back to him. Now we can ask that same question for Obama to Trump, and I think Obama's, obviously his incursions on that are factual, not innuendo, not blowing it up. As a matter of fact, what they did is kind of, he's just playing politics. No, this subverted the Trump administration for years.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Still is.
Still is.
And
yeah.
there was collusion on this.
Yeah.
And I hear some pundits on the right, and this is what we have to be careful. They're saying, even on the right, but on the left too, there's nothing new here. We knew everything.
There's a lot new here.
Yeah, but the point is even if there wasn't, I heard that on Benghazi too.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things they always do. There's nothing new here.
Right.
Yeah, but nobody took it serious.
Right.
There's nothing new about men and women's sports. But rational minds need to succeed in prosecuting that effort to get the crazy people thinking straight. And yes, there is new things. You're right, Don. But even if there wasn't, the things that we already knew, nobody wanted to prosecute. And so there's reasons.
Well,
for
they
that.
knew it, but we suspected it. They didn't know it, but they suspected it, but they couldn't prove it. Right.
Right. But
now they know it,
now you have
and you can
document.
prove it.
Right.
Plus, we're not.
And so-
Plus, we're just not talking about speech. We're talking about falsifying documents, and
No,
we're talking
right.
about a false intelligence report.
Right. But we have to go back. But now you've got to go back and look at the Roberts ruling of June 2024
On immunity.
about what presidents are immune from.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that ruling, if you read it, Roberts is very clear that, look, this is only the second case in like 200 years, and we're not going to settle all this today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he said.
They're going to get another chance.
We're going to get another chance. So the point is, do I think they should be prosecuted? Yes, because no president should have the unilateral power to weaponize his intelligence agencies.
Sure, and
that
that doesn't fall under the term of an official act either, right? I mean, you can't, as an official act of the president, subversion of the incoming administration. Come on, that doesn't fall under the lawful things to do.
Right. Look, and you can't order an assassination, right?
Right.
I mean, that would not fall under that. So
unless it's by drone by American and an American overseas.
Right. But how low does that get then?
Yeah.
Where do we go? And I think this is pretty high. I mean, this is.
I think too that we need to look at this thing slightly different. The word treason's been thrown around, seditious conspiracy, all the things that the Democrats used against the J6ers, successfully, even if it was illegal. But what we aren't looking at is the conspiracy, and that's where I think we can get them. Because, Jeff, if I say to myself, I'm going to go rob the bank tomorrow, that's not a conspiracy. But if I say Jeff and you say yes, and I say let's go rob the bank tomorrow, we've committed a conspiracy, and a conspiracy is a felony, regardless of what the outcome of the conspiracy is. So I think what the Justice Department needs to work on is they can throw treason in there as the ultimate end point of the conspiracy, but they committed a felony conspiracy, and I think that's what they need to be nailed on. And what do I care whether they go to jail for 100 years or 500 years? It doesn't matter to me,
Right.
as long as they get punished for what they did.
And at a minimum, you could charge them with falsifying documents,
You'd think so.
right? I mean that would be that's
Well,
like 5 or 7 years. I mean that would be for some of the outliers that took part in it, but may not have been in that room on that early day in December. It was right when they concocted all this. When Obama told them come back in and we're going to tell a new story, right? Basically, is what he told them. His
Well,
group.
we've heard from the left for years that nobody is above the law. And this is a clear example
Yeah.
where laws and I haven't finished the research. I've done the research. What is treason? Article 3 of the Constitution, Section 3. My question on what should be lawful or not, and then last year's what's immunity. But we need to dig deeper, as Paul brought up, what constitutes the threshold of conspiracy? What constitutes
Right.
the threshold of the intelligence agency abusing their powers to persecute and thwart an election of a duly elected president? And
Yeah.
there's got to be codes that handle this. And if there's not, there certainly should be.
Well, I'm sure there are, yeah. And the reason I brought up statute of limitations, because if the left isn't arguing that it's not treason, they're arguing the statute of limitation. Well, let me read this little blurb that I found. The statute of limitations for seditious conspiracy in the United States is generally 5 years, meaning the government must file on an indictment or information within 5 years of the offense being committed. However, this period is not always absolute. The statute of limitations may be extended if evidence was covered up or withheld, preventing its discovery, and the period may begin to run from the date of the discovery of the evidence.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think
so the statute of limitations is not a good argument for these people, because number one, if Tulsi Gabbard walked out last Friday night and that's the evidence, it's 5 years from that day, right?
This is, you're talking about seditious conspiracy?
Seditious or conspiracy.
Sedition.
Yeah, but I think the charge that a lot of people are talking about is seditious conspiracy, but a conspiracy, being charged with a conspiracy under federal law, yeah, from the date the evidence was discovered. Well, that was Friday night, as far as I can tell. I don't think anything else has come out as solid as what she presented Friday night in that first 100 pages. So,
Well, clearly, you have to go after them. And I'm
Yes.
sorry to say that, because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Don and Paul, I would have said, turn the other cheek. I would have.
yeah,
I would have said, we can't cross the Rubicon on these things, or else we're going to devolve into chaos.
yeah,
But the problem is they've already crossed the Rubicon.
right. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, they crossed
They're
it first,
fighting
right?
with brass knuckles.
Yep.
And we've got big old boxing gloves on, trying to play what's right.
Yep.
And I'm not saying to go Mike Tyson on them and bite the ears off, but I'm saying, at least if you're going to play bare knuckles, you've got to have some fair fights, and they've crossed some norms. And the problem is this is real stuff.
Yep.
Where they make up things to prosecute.
Mm-hmm. That's
this
right.
is real.
Yeah.
This is
So
real.
so we're all in agreement that they must go after these people.
Yes.
Anybody involved.
Yes.
all
Yeah.
the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can take years to do it.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
They
Yeah.
get 22 months.
Well, you guys
for the
heard
Russia scandal.
you heard that Pam Bondi is named a what did she call it? she's named a quick reaction
You know,
group
yeah, quick reaction force.
Yeah.
to start investigating. So they've
Well, and the
Force.
difference is, look, the Democrats intentionally drew out the Russia hoax because they knew there was nothing there at the end of the line.
yeah,
So the longer they could draw it out and keep people in question, the better it was for them. It's just the opposite for this.
right.
We should take all the time it needs,
Oh yeah,
but we also know where this leads.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, instead of pulling the thread slow like the Democrats did, because they wanted to milk everything they could out of this and
Oh, sure.
thwart his presidency.
Yeah.
And instead, we need to rip that thread across.
yeah. Rip off the
and get
Band-Aid.
it done. But it's very interesting in that this really is the first time that I've seen the Republicans have the Democrats without the initiative.
True.
And I mean that because every time they're pushing the right and they keep pushing and pushing, and all we're doing is reacting and trying to stabilize on just about everything. And this time, I think they're on their heels, not knowing what to do.
Yeah, they're behind the 8 ball now. Yeah. So okay. So with that being said, where do you think? What would be you Paul, and you Jeff? What would be your prediction of who's really going to be convicted? What do you think?
Well, the Democrats have set the precedence. You can convict a former president of a crime. And so we got that one in the bucket already. There's not going to be any saying, well, you can't convict a former president because they already did. So I think we got Obama. I think Obama's going to jail. I really do. I think when the dust settles and the lies about his past, his imminent rise in politics from street corner community organizer to president of the United States in 60 days or less, somebody's going to find a chink in that armor. And when they do, he's going to jail. Big Mike, I don't know whether he's going to be involved in that or not, just as an innocent ride along. But Schumer, Pelosi, Schiff, those people are all in on it. They're all up to their necks in it.
Yeah.
And I hope they can dig down deep enough to bury him where they can never surface again.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, let me kindly disagree with you, even though I'd love to agree with you. Okay. We as a nation, I don't care, and I'm serious when I say this, and it's sad to say, but it is also true. Okay. As the first Black American president, even if we found that he murdered 3 of the girls who were used by Epstein, they would never put him in jail. And I will buy you a steak dinner at anywhere on the planet if I am wrong, and it will be worth everything if I'm wrong. And I hope I am.
Do I get to pick the restaurant?
You get to pick the restaurant. Yes. We will never.
But you believe he'll be found guilty? Do you believe he'll be found guilty?
I think somehow there's going to be a behind the scenes that, hey, this cannot happen. We cannot. I'm serious. I am absolutely serious. Truth does not matter in so many aspects. Look at the conviction of, what was it, Chauvin, and the Black Lives Matter issues. I'm not saying he was correct, but truth was beyond. Nobody cared about the truth. It was emotional driven, and all of a sudden all cops were murderers, and there was a war on cops and defund the police and all this stuff.
So you think this is going to be an emotional thing?
I do. I
Obama.
am. Look, I am telling this crowd now. Now look, and I don't say this based on emotion.
Would you like to see him put in jail?
Absolutely.
Okay. You just don't think
but
that.
let me just
Go ahead,
say
Jeff.
something. Look,
Sure.
I had a government teacher, Mr. Dugan, in my sophomore and junior years of high school, and he was a Democrat. He was brilliant. And, this was in the 80s, and we were close enough to World War II that he said Russia will never allow East and West Germany to reunify. And I said, come on. I mean, no. He said, no, 20 million Russians dead. And they will never. They hate the Germans. They're afraid of them. And I took that to heart. And a few years later, what happened?
The wall came down.
They reunified.
Okay.
So I don't say this lightly, but in this case with Obama, the United States is not going to put our first Black American president in jail, period. Even if he committed murder. And I'm serious. And I wish it wasn't like that.
Do you think he'll be fined?
No.
You don't think he'll even be
They're
fined?
going to find other scapegoats.
Will they take away his presidential retirement money?
I doubt it. I'm just saying, I think he is guilty. I think he deserves what's more than what's coming to him. But there's going to be other fall people. Now, I didn't say other people wouldn't go to jail.
Right.
And I don't think Schiff will, but I think he should, from what I know. But he's got plausible deniability saying, hey, I'm just reporting what everybody told me. Yeah. And he can kind of have arm's distance and plausible deniability. But I think Clapper and Brennan were close enough to this that there's a chance that they do jail time or imposed fines.
Comey will.
But
Comey will go to jail.
Yeah, and possibly Comey. But
and maybe Susan Rice.
I would love to be wrong, but I am making a statement here and now.
Yeah.
It is never going to happen.
With Obama.
Save
with Obama.
Save this tape for me, Don, because I'm looking forward to that stakeout.
Oh, yeah, this will be in the archives. Right. This will be in the archives. Episode 43. We'll bring it back here. We'll play this back.
Listen, Paul, we will go to Vegas in the Bellagio buffet, man. There you go.
Hey, so here's another question. How will this be conducted as far on a legal? Will this be a grand jury going to a federal grand jury thing, or will it actually be a military tribunal?
Oh, I think grand jury.
Grand jury?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is an assault on the.
It's a commander. The commander in chief is the one that we're talking about. Wouldn't that be a military tribunal?
It could be. I think it could be a military tribunal. I think it could be taken as a crime under the UCMJ.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being a devil's advocate. I'm just, throwing that out there so people will think about it. We want people to do critical thinking in this country. That's one of the things that everybody lacks is, you got to start. We've got to start getting people to think critically so they can think about these things.
Yeah, and, but again. If there's any flaws in the way we prosecute this, and there was against Trump, it's never been done before in the history of New York City.
Well, there was also collusion. There was collusion between all those people. They know that they all met up in the White House with Biden. All of them were there at the same time. They have proof of that.
And look, another special. What did Bondi call this? Her group?
The strike force?
The strike force. There's got to be another strike force appointed about Biden and his decline.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
The cover up of that.
Yeah.
We can't forget that either. I mean, these guys are just wonderful leaders.
Yeah.
And is that treasonous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will all these people go into the grand jury and plead the fifth?
They could.
Well, that's typically that's their track. That's their track record for whenever they're under the gun, they plead the fifth. And so people are going to have to decide with the proof on the table, and they're going to have to be convinced.
They can offer what do you call it, exemptions.
Yeah.
By pardoning Comey, and then he can't take the fifth.
Yeah, and have him testify against the others.
He's not subject to criminal penalties.
Yeah.
And then he's got to tell the truth or face problems himself. So.
Well, his daughter was a federal prosecutor till last week. You wonder what she's going to advise him, right?
Yeah. Well,
Might even be his
look,
lawyer.
look, I hate to be the Eeyore here, okay?
You don't think it's going to go that far? You don't think they're going to get Obama
want-
in a grand jury? Do you think they'll get him in front of a grand jury, Jeff?
I don't know. I want to believe that you are right, Paul, and Don. You know, if you're siding on that side.
Well, no, I'm not siding on
but-
either. I'm trying to get
but,
people to get you to think about these things and
Yeah,
what you
I
think.
just don't see it happening. But I am so happy that Trump is in office because he's the one that has the chutzpah, the courage to be able to actually do this.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
the precedent has been set, so
Yeah.
they can't say this.
Well, he said it 2 days
prosecution-
ago that Obama's the ringleader. So
Yeah, well,
it's
everybody
out there.
knows it.
Yeah.
Look, the same thing with Benghazi. I mean, when that happened, look, I knew Ty Woods.
Yeah.
Okay?
I know. I know that. Yeah, I remember you had
and I'm
his
close.
widow. You had his widow at one of your
Yes, and
meetings
this
that
is
we
very
went to.
personal.
Yeah.
And there was such a cover up there.
Oh yeah.
And all these things, every single one, Benghazi's bigger than Watergate.
Yeah. Sure it is.
You know, I mean, people got killed.
Yeah.
Nobody got killed in Watergate.
Yeah. Well, you remember what
And
Hillary
Nixon
said,
wasn't
right?
Even a part of it.
Hillary said,
He
"What
was a-
difference does it make?" Right?
Oh, and so look, so just Benghazi alone deserves a treason brand on the whole administration.
And you know they
On
never
what they
they
did.
never have found out where Obama was in Benghazi on that night.
Oh, anyway, yeah. I think I know where he was, but I'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
But there are things that anyway that's treasonous. If anybody ever pursued that, even if they said, well, everything's come out, we knew that. Yeah, but nobody's looked at it in a way of what the cover-up was, the lies about what caused it, the reasons we were over there.
Yeah.
The
How about the withdrawal from Afghanistan?
Sure.
I mean,
exactly.
That's huge, right?
Yeah, you give the enemy $85 billion worth of equipment. That's
Yeah.
aid and comfort. I
Yeah.
don't care.
And
If you're
13,
right, Paul.
13 Marines killed,
Paul.
right?
Now that could be a treasonous accusation right there.
Yeah.
Aid
Yeah.
and comfort to the enemy. So
Sure.
we have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And the problem is we have so many rabbits running in the field.
Yeah.
which one to go after?
Yeah.
And the problem is they're all deserving to get captured.
Yeah.
And so where do you go? So
Well, I believe after seeing Tulsi Gabbard release this information last Friday, I think you're going to find today she released some more information about Martin Luther King. I don't know exactly what it is, but and I expect her to release information about Benghazi and Afghanistan.
Certainly hope so.
She's going to get it out there, right? So,
just how poorly we have been governed.
oh yeah, it's just it's
This is the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain,
Yeah.
if there ever was one.
exactly, yeah. That's
It's
very true.
scary stuff.
And I read today that Pam Bondi went to the hospital for something, an unspecified illness or issue.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
No, I hadn't heard
Yeah.
that either. Huh.
So I don't know what that's all about, but there's an awful lot of intrigue around this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to come, and I know you guys. I appreciate you guys. Stay on top of it, and I'll send you information and stories. But yeah, it's going to be it's going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds now. And did you guys see President Trump go into the to the building remodel with Jerome Powell this afternoon?
No, missed that.
Trump wasn't happy, and Powell had to sit there and tell him that, well, it's not 2.7 billion, it's gone up to 3.2 billion. They've overrun.
Oh my God.
You should have seen Trump's face.
I mean, especially Trump is not inexperienced at building.
That's right. That's why he went over
You
there.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Yeah,
So look, there'd be people being fired if he was back in his old company, and there should be people getting fired, and he's president and CEO of this company.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, so we pretty much covered. I mean, we haven't covered it, but we've kind of delved into the legal part of this thing. And
Well,
I'm not going to make any predictions on who's going to go to jail or whatever, but I think Obama will sit in front of a grand jury. I think that'll happen.
Here's a starting place.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Paul's got the start.
One of the things that we might want to discuss a little bit is this sudden reversal on releasing the Epstein files. There's that has muddied the waters a lot. Stuart Rhodes, for instance, has said that this failure of the president and Pam Bondi to do what they said they were going to do, which was release all these things, puts a big stain on MAGA. And so, what do you think about that?
Well, honestly, Trump's approval ratings are up. So I don't know. I don't sense that there's a big effect on the MAGA people. I don't think they're going to drop off on his support for them. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying that it's not going to dismiss his popularity with people that voted for him and support him. Because
there's still. I've been.
Who else you going to support?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've been following this, and there's a, I'd say a 30%, 20%, not leaving Trump, but saying they don't understand why he's promised us peanut butter and jelly and then gave us rye bread.
Well, they said to release the grand jury stuff now, and now a judge is blocking them in Florida.
Right.
I don't know what's going on up in New York, but they've asked to release it. Some of it, whatever they can, without exposing people. Like Zach made a good point. If they're still trying to prosecute people, and the FBI made a statement over the weekend, another guy, and Pam Bondi's assistant came out on Truth Social, and he said, think what you might, but he says if there's been another crime committed and there's evidence of that, we will prosecute it. So we're going to get these files opened up, and we're going to see what's going on. So,
that would be a good thing.
Yeah, that would be a good thing. Yeah, but they do. I think Zach made a good point, and I think he left the show last week, Jeff, before he said this. He said there might be some witnesses that they have that they don't want to expose, and so that's part of the reason for why they said they're not going to release, or why they kind of quieted down about releasing it right now, because they've got some more possibilities of convictions coming up, and they don't want to put any witnesses in jeopardy.
And I read today that one of the other sides of that is that there are hundreds of names in here who had dealings with Epstein,
right,
who had no dealings with illicit sex or trafficking or pedophilia or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if you throw that whole bag of names out on the street, some people are going to get damaged that just like to ride in a fancy jet.
Look, that's fine, but look, I call it as I see it, and Trump is doing wonderful on so many things. But on that thing, he gets an F.
Yeah.
Okay? Not a C, not a D, an F. And if what Paul's saying is true, I hear all these other excuses. You have a team of communications people working for you. Then draft a coherent statement and get it out before Bondi said, it's like the Kraken. Okay, we're going to unleash the Kraken. There was no Kraken. Okay, so that lawyer has lost all credibility for all time on what she says. And so you've got to come out, and even though it's not a big deal to you, it is a big deal to some people within the MAGA movement and otherwise. And if you don't have time to deal with it, you delegate it to somebody to draft something or write a speech and come out and explain why things have changed. Or, hey, we do have the list, but just what Paul said, well, there's names on there, we're prosecuting, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You don't handle it like we handled it.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've regrouped now. I honestly believe they've regrouped now, and there's some things going to come out, and they've also set up. Justice Department has also set up an interview with Gazelle Maxwell, and
no, I think it's great.
They're not. They're probably not going to give her, immunity or whatever she's asking for. But they're going to. They said they're going to find out if she really has the information she says she does, because there's some doubt that she actually has the information that she says she has. So.
And I understand Trump's position. He's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
We're trying to create peace in the Middle East. I just bombed Iran. I'm trying to get rid of the Ukraine, Russia. I'm trying to straighten out our trade wars. I'm trying to make America great again. Yeah. And you're going to hammer me over this? And like, you give me a break. So I get what he's saying. And balls will be dropped. But he also forgets this, that if there is one crime that every American would universally agree is the most egregious crime in humanity.
Crimes against kids.
Even up there with murder.
Yeah.
It is child abuse.
Oh, yeah.
And child rape.
Yeah.
And so the mistake is not understanding that the American people are disgusted by that.
Yeah.
And if we just, if there are theories about, well, he was involved, Epstein, with intelligence, and they're sweeping it under the rug. And these are the theories out there. They're sweeping it under the rug because we benefited and the Israelis did about the intelligence he was gathering, and we were willing to look the other way even when children were raped. That is not going to fly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
And this is why there was a huge mistake on the magnitude of interest of the American people.
Yeah.
And I get where Trump's coming from, but you've got to hit this, because what he was doing was disgusting. And when you don't see other people go to jail for what we know happened on that island, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, again, I think the Justice Department is regrouping, and Trump has come on and said to go ahead and get the grand jury testimony released. So right now all I've heard from that is the judge in Florida is blocking it, Florida case. And I don't know what's going on in the I think it's the Southern District of New York. I don't know what's going on there, if they're going to release it or not, but that's one of the most corrupt districts in the country, the Southern District of New York. So who knows what'll go on? But anyway, let's hope and pray we get there, because if there are more people that need to be punished, then that needs to happen. And if opening some of those files will do that, then every American is for that. Well, maybe not every American. There's some weirdos around, but
there's a couple whose names on that list that hope they don't.
Yeah, that's true. So, hey, I saw something else about, what did I see about Arizona? I saw some big news about Arizona. I sent it out. I sent out that a bunch of the Arizona small cities, mayors, and people are just overjoyed with Trump's closing the border.
There was a little article on that.
They said their towns are getting back to normal now, and they're, with all the influx of all the illegal aliens that were coming in. So they're overjoyed. Yeah, they love it. So I didn't know if you guys have seen that or not.
Yeah, I think I saw that. But it didn't knock my socks off. That people are happy that the border's closed.
Did you guys know that Trump put a big tariff on Mexican tomatoes?
I did not.
Yeah. You remember they had a deal that Florida, which was hurting Florida tomato growers, that we could not sell our tomatoes in Arizona, so Trump went ahead and put a big tariff on Mexican tomatoes. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not. So
no, I hadn't heard that.
If Katie Hobbs is raising hell about it or not. But anyway, he's slapped him down. So our representatives here are very happy about that. They grow a lot of tomatoes in Florida.
I got to tell you this. If the administration was smart, they would get the legislative branch to codify everything that Trump is doing.
Yeah.
Because I believe and am fearful that the Supreme Court eventually is going to say everything Trump is doing on the tariff issue is unconstitutional, which I think it is. not all of it, but a majority of it. I do think it's unconstitutional.
Unless he pays for the debt with the tariffs.
Well, I mean, you could make some.
Then they might think about it again.
Yeah, but I do. I think I wouldn't want a Democrat president having the powers in tariffs that Trump is wielding right now.
Well, one of the things that I've come to realize is that especially with this thing with Japan, if you look at the final settlement, I don't know if you guys read about it or heard about it.
I heard about it today.
They're going to invest $550 billion, which we're going to use to buy things like rare earth minerals and invest in some other areas, and they have to pay 15% tariff on anything they ship into us. We are going to pay no tariffs to ship to them, and they've even included rice, which Ken Bennett has talked about several times on this program about how Japan has not taken our rice for many years. They won't let it into the country. Well, now they're going to. So, his negotiating skills, he's come up with a way to use tariffs to do that. And we'll see. You think Congress would wake up and make, pass laws and make it lawful, or just say something that the president has the authority to, and it's okay with Congress? Bill. Yeah, just a single bill. Yeah, and do it quickly and cleanly and get it over with, right?
Yes. Look, Lincoln had to retroactively get Congress to approve his state of war with the southern states in the rebellion.
Yeah.
He had no authority to unilaterally make that decision.
Yeah.
And so, but he had the Congress come do it. And so, the Congress needs to do this, because if the Supreme Court comes in and says, hey, that's all unconstitutional, what happens to that great deal we just did with Japan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What happens to all this?
They need to codify it. You're right.
Let's do some forward thinking, people. And,
so the one last question. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just think there's a good chance that the conservative members of that court are going to vote that way.
Yeah. So one last question for you guys. What do you think? What do you think he's going to do with the Federal Reserve Chairman?
I think he's going to can him.
You think he's just going to do it?
I think so. I mean, the man is not doing what this country needs done, and Trump has a very low tolerance for incompetence. You're fired. I mean, he made an entire television career on those two words.
Yeah, well, they were walking, like I said, they were walking around the building today. There was them, those two, a Secret Service agent and a construction, I assumed he was a foreman. But I'm sure that Trump got him over. Don't you think he got him over on the side of the room somewhere and told him how it's all going to go down? I don't know.
Well, I've already gone out on a limb and made my very strong predictions. So I'm going to defer to Paul on this one.
Okay. Well, Paul says.
Who knows?
Paul says he's going to fire. Well, I like that. Yeah, he's going to fire Jerome Powell. So I think that'd be good. And I think that's.
Well, it is interesting how everybody says, "Oh, they're independent of this, that, and the other," but we see how the Federal Reserve Chairman under the other administration, Biden and Obama, kowtowed to them, and all of a sudden it's like you're supposed to be independent.
Yeah, Well, they like them independent, except when their guys.
Exactly.
Their guys in, then there's no independence.
Well,
you got to do what we want, right? So, yeah. Well, here's my last thing to you guys. We're coming up on the August break in Congress. Do you think Congress should take off? Do you think the Senate should take off for a month? They have all their budget bills coming up by September 29th. They've got to have all their budget bills done. Should they be taking a month off? I don't think they should.
What a sign of weakness and missed opportunity.
Yeah.
This is a once in a generation opportunity.
Yeah.
To control both houses, the Supreme Court sometimes and the executive.
And it's not an election year.
Second. Yeah, and to waste, exactly.
Yeah.
To waste 1 second of this opportunity to figure out how to further this agenda and do these bills about, hey, this is what the president should be doing on these tariffs,
Yeah.
and getting men out of women's sport and codify it. And you know, you've got a lot of work to do. And again, we got the big, beautiful bill through,
Yeah.
but there are 1,000 of one-page bills
Yeah.
that we could start to work on and get done.
And they got those 12 budget bills to do. They can't afford to try to pass a continuing resolution
Well,
on September
but they're
29th.
lazy. I'm just not, you know, look, I can't say that about all of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, good enough is not good enough.
Okay, so before we sign off, I want you guys first, Jeff. I'd like you to tell the audience about Heirs of the Republic and how they can, the website and what they can do to join and how often you have meetings.
Sure. Well, I do have a nonprofit, Heirs of the Republic, and we meet monthly. We had a great meeting this month. Actually, Paul was there just a week ago or so, and so our big efforts is to educate, and we think perspectives are changed when we educate people. If you're going to have a strong opinion on something, let's do it. So I do have grants. And from donors to Heirs of the Republic, it's a 501c3.
And the meetings are open to the public?
Absolutely. And those grants are used for me to go around the country to teach local law enforcement their oath of office, or policing with a purpose, military professional development, oath of office teaching. I do that around the country. I teach in Gettysburg. So anybody can reach me. Our website, heirsoftherepublic.com, but you can reach me at actually my for-profit email, because I do that for the nonprofit and for-profit, Jeff@fullmeasureleadership.com.
Okay.
Jeff@fullmeasureleadership. And any donation is welcome, because we really stretch it. So we teach, and I also do, I was just in Coronado Island with Navy rescue swimmers who couldn't get their a grant together to get tactical swim training.
Yeah.
So I used some of that grant to be able to do some work with them and for some of our Air Force pararescue jumpers.
Good for you.
So
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so heirsoftherepublic.com, right?
Yes,
I'll make sure I put that link down below the program notes. So Paul, tell the audience about the class that you were teaching that you told me about in an email, and how can they participate in your class?
Well, this is through the Patriot Academy, patriotacademy.com, with Rick Green, former Texas legislator, and he started these classes. The one I'm teaching is called Biblical Citizenship, and it's an 8-week course, DVD course, that teaches people how the founders used the Bible as a source document for the Constitution and our laws. And it's like I said, it's an 8-week course, about an hour and a half a night. And I'm teaching it for a group of constitutionalists in Tucson right now. And they were talking to me about that they wanted to have the class in Spanish. And so I checked with the Patriot Academy, and I've just purchased that class in Spanish. So they're going to start teaching the Constitution in a biblical sense in Spanish to people in Tucson who want to learn about the Constitution and how our country was founded and how it has been hopefully saved by the voters.
Yep. There you go. Okay, great. Okay, guys, thank you. That's good. That's good stuff. So thanks to you both for coming on. It was a good conversation tonight. Everybody available next week?
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, and I am hoping Obama goes to jail soon, because I want to make that road trip to the Bellagio with Paul.
That's right.
Yeah, me too.
We'll all go there, but we have to go with it. We got to go in the fall, because it's got to be a little cooler.
Yeah. Hey,
right?
Whatever it is, that would be a nice road trip to make.
Yeah, there you go.
Mary Margaret and I are going to be there for the Special Operations Association reunion every year in October. So I think it starts around October 14th. So kind of make your plans to meet us in there.
There you go. Yeah, let's start
in jail
cooling
by next October.
There you go. It should start cooling off by then. Okay, guys. Thanks everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
care.
Thanks for watching 4 Men in America.
Maxwell,
Yeah?
you're home.
Oh, cool.
If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better.